Good morning and a very warm welcome to Chang International Circuit in Buriram, Thailand. If you haven't been with us during the weekend, what you're watching on screen now is the Underbone warm up for round one of the 2022 IDEMITSU FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. Today we have, this morning rather, we have warm-up sessions for all four classes. The Underbones, as ever, are out first. You can probably recognize the barking of those single cylinder 150 engines. They're out for a 10-minute warm-up. Yesterday in the race there was a lot of attrition in this class, with almost half the field disappearing with engine problems or crashes, and also a few non-starters, which was unfortunate. But we had an absolutely cracking race amongst the top 7 or 8 riders, which came down, as all the races did yesterday, came down to the final turn and who got that right, who managed to muscle their way through to P1 and who got muscled out of the contest for the podium at the famous, or perhaps infamous, Chang International Circuit Turn 12. So the bikes are coming out now. There will be some who are testing new parts, perhaps the parts that failed yesterday, and others who will just be adjusting their setup a little bit and getting used to the track. It's 9:30 here, almost 9:30 here in Buriram, Thailand, and already it is blisteringly hot. If I just check the weather app on my phone, I can tell you exactly how hot it is this early in the day. It is indeed 32 degrees. Yesterday the air temperature hit 36 degrees at the peak time, which is around 2 p.m. But the track temperatures were blisteringly hot. On the way back from a grid interview, I bent down to touch the tarmac, and I could leave my hand there for just half a second. It was incredibly hot, and everybody I asked about the track temperature gave me the same answer. Even the Dunlop tyre engineers said, oh, it's more than 60 degrees, and it definitely was. So no matter how happy we are to be back at the Chang International Circuit with the Asia Road Racing Championship, nobody is going to be so happy that they'll be kissing the tarmac. On screen now you can see some of the top contenders there. The much fancied Pirapong Lui Bung Peng, number 14 on that distinctive bike. Already somebody has had an off there. That's one of the two Vietnamese riders here, Nguyen Duc Tan. Nguyen Duc Tan yesterday finished in a very creditable 10th place. The Vietnamese, unlike most of their rivals from Indonesia, from Thailand, from the Philippines, were not able to race in their own country during the pandemic closed season, if we can call it that. So a lot of what they've been doing this week has been reacclimatizing themselves to riding on a big open track, and riding on a big open track alongside riders of this caliber. On your screen now, talking about the Filipinos, at the front of that group on the purple machine, the UMA machine, is April King Mascado, much fancied Filipino in the 2021 Underbone series in the Philippines. He was a convincing champion, winning almost every race, and the races he didn't win, he finished second 2 occasions. So he's much fancied. This class, as you may recall from 2019, has a Filipino champion, McKinley Carl Paz, who is off racing in other fields at the moment. So April King Mascado is one of the 3 Filipinos flying the flag, but they have all 3 or 4 of them, if I've got enough fingers to count them, have been doing extremely well. Notably, John Emerson Inguito was very unlucky yesterday. He just managed to push his bike over the line after a crash at turn 12, but he was actually challenging for the win, which was taken by Izzat Zaidi. And in the Super Pole competition for the top 15 places on the grid in the morning, again, John Emerson Nguito crashed at turn 12. So yesterday wasn't the best day for him, for the 4S1M Yamaha racing team. So he'll be looking to make amends and get some points on the board today. The race winner, as I mentioned, was Izzat Zaidi, who we've seen win here before at Chang International Circuit, a very accomplished underbone rider. And that is number 22 bike you can just see on the outside of your screen there. That is John Emerson Nguito, just going around the outside. So as you can see, these bikes are bunched together. And if you're used to watching ARRC underbone racing, this is a very familiar sight, with large packs of bikes, 8 to 10 bikes typically, slipstreaming and battling for track position advantage. They're going there through the very fast turn 4, which follows the hairpin at the top of the fastest section here, between the straight that runs between turn 3 and turn 4. These bikes, these 150 machines, are reaching speeds. Let me just look at yesterday's results. Speeds of up to 177.9 kilometers per hour. I nearly said miles per hour, but kilometers per hour, which is extremely fast on these 150s. Pirapong Louis Bumpeng, much fancied for a win yesterday. He didn't quite manage that. He was another, I think it was a last corner casualty, but another one of several DNFs as he goes around turn 12, which is where races are won and lost. And he will be hoping for better things today. He was much fancied as a winner, and until the very, very last stages of the race, it looked like a potential winner. But it was a magnificent job. Magnificent job by Izzat Zaidi. In second place was Jordan Bauduru, the Indonesian. First time we've seen him in this championship. He made a very decent showing in this week's official 2-day test, keeping his nose clean, getting the laps in, and moving his way up the timing screens. He did really well to come in in second place yesterday for the LFN team. Another new team, but their bikes, if we can spot one at the moment, are in a very distinctive black and gold. Let's see this brief 10-minute warm-up session is just coming to an end. And yesterday's race winner is that Zaidi Salahan, to give him his almost his full name. He's already back in the pits, but he is at the top of the timing screen. Best time of 2:01.477. To put that into perspective, the fastest lap yesterday belonged to another newcomer, Dimas Julio Atmoko, who clocked 2:03.779. So very decent speeds in the cooler, I use that word advisedly, stages of this race. The number 23 bike you can see just cruising, just going out of shot, is that of Gupita Krishna, also in the 41SM team. It's a Philippine team. Gupita joined it for 2019 and is continuing this year. He seems very happy in the team, an Indonesian and a Philippine team. All is working well there, and his teammate John Emerson Nguito also going well. Gupita, of course, is 2 times Asia Road Racing Championship underbone champion. As we watch there, Giancarlo Maurizio coming into the pits. And there you can see, just to run through, Izzat Zaidi was top. Pirapong Louis Bumpeng, always near the top of the timing sheets. Nazrul Izzat didn't start yesterday, so we'll be hoping to see him. He was 3rd in this warm-up session. Siafik Rosli was 4th. Gupita Krishna, we were just talking about, 5th. 6th, Giancarlo Maurizio. 7th, John Emerson Nguito. And 8th, April King Moscado. and 9th. Afifam Ram, 10th. Jordan Bardaru, second place man yesterday. 11th, Oi Wezu, who crashed yesterday, but did really, really well. So watch out for him today. Waiwaji Triliksana, third place yesterday. He was 12th in this session. Ayman Tairuddin, 13th. Hafid Pratap 14th. Dimas Juli at Moko, who also did extremely well yesterday, 15th and 16th. Morabil Vitoni, and not out in this warm-up session, or not recording any times anyway, because of a crash were the two Vietnamese Hondas of Nguyen An Tuan and Nguyen Duc Tan. But both achieved top 10 finishes yesterday, which was really good news for the Vietnamese team and the Vietnamese riders. Nguyen Antoine finished in 8th place. So that's it for the Underbone session. We're going to take a break of just a few minutes to drink a little coffee, and I suggest you do the same. We'll be back in about 7 minutes at 9:45 for the AP250 warm-up session, and there's plenty to talk about from yesterday's action there. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Chang International Circuit. It looks quiet out there, but in the next few seconds you'll see a whole load of Asia Production 250 machines joining the track for the warm-up session for round 1, day 3 of the IDEMITSU FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. Today, this afternoon, will be race 2 for all 4 classes. Yesterday we had a lot of action on track. This class is also always very closely fought, and yesterday was definitely no exception. The winner was a familiar face to us at Asia Road Racing Champion, a previous AP250 champion, Reza Danica Arens, who just got past Piawat Patumyos, the lone Thai rider, amazingly in this championship for the time being, to take the win. Piawat was second, and the reigning defending champion Andy Mohammed Fadli was in 3rd position. So we'll look at some of the results and what happened. There is that's one of the LFN machines. We'll talk a little bit about those. The number 93 machine, that's Fitriancia Kete. He finished 8th yesterday. He's just taking a leisurely cruise around, followed by several. They're just at the top of the fast straight there, so now they're going to gun it down, and that is, I think, Andy Mohammed Fadli leading the way on that distinctive green Kawasaki. There are 2 Kawasaki's in this field. Most of the bikes here are either Hondas or Yamahas. Yeah, that is Andy Mohammed Fadli, defending champion. Looked confident. He was happy enough with his 3rd position yesterday. He was good enough to open his account with 16 points. He'll be looking, no doubt, as he was yesterday, for a win today. He feels it's his right. And just behind him is number 46. That's one of the Astra Hondas, the Astra Honda of Herjan Atna Firdaus. Herjan showed quite well in the race yesterday, spending most of the time just off the first group, but got docked 20 seconds for overtaking under a yellow flag, so ended up down in 10th position. But as a first-timer to this category, he opened his account with some points as Andy Mohammed Fadli leads them across the line. His teammate Aiki Iyoshi also put in a good show yesterday. At the end, he couldn't quite get through the melee at the end of the race, and he finished 7th. Heat haze obscuring the numbers a little bit there, but that is Andy Mohammed Fadli in front of Herjan. And we were just talking about Aiki Iyoshi. That's on the 2nd Kawasaki, you can see there, being chased by Fitriancia. There's another rider who received a 20-second penalty. That was Idlan Hakimi Radwan for the same offence, overtaking under a yellow flag. The reason for having these regulations: the yellow flags come out when there is a crash on the track, and the very good reason for doing that is that there could be debris on the track, or even in the worst case, a rider on track. So there is no overtaking, no racing under that situation. You don't need to slow down, but no overtaking under a yellow flag. So those 2 riders did. Lesson learned, and they can move on. Just saw a flash of the bike of Aldi Satya Mahendra. He showed well yesterday, but faded towards the end. Young rider, young Indonesian Yamaha rider, who I think we will see, I predict we will see stronger, better points from him today. There is Idlan, number 19, and Reza Danica, yesterday's race winner, and he's being followed by the green Yamaha of Akid Aziz. Akid Aziz, one of the leading lights for several years in the Underbone category, now making the step onto conventionally configured motorcycles, and making a pretty decent job of it. Yesterday, what did he do? He didn't finish. But during practice, during the test earlier in the week, he looked like he's making decent progress in this class. And talented rider that he is, you'll see more from him as the season progresses. There was quite a bit of attrition in this class too. Adinanta Putra, he was out. Kid we just mentioned. And Senthil Chandrasekaran, one of two Indian riders here, also didn't make the finish line. So we're looking there, I think, the LFN, the black and gold bike there, that might be Rafid Topan Suchipto. Let's just get a closer look at the number. Yeah, I think the second black and gold bike is Rafid. Rafid Topan, he was third in this championship in 2018, and now in a new team, LFN. And LFN is a new team to this series. As we just here look at Virgin and Firdaus, one of many young riders coming through the system operated by Astra Honda of Indonesia, which has produced the likes of Andy Farid Izdihar, who was the 600 winner yesterday, and Reza Danica Arens, the 2018 champion, the number 1, 2, 3 that you can see in the center of your screen there, just tipping into, I think that was turn 1. You can see how hot it is from the heat haze. As, who is that? Yeah, that is Rafid Topan, number 50 on the black and gold bike. Had a long conversation with him yesterday as things were cooling down after the races had finished. He's really happy in this team. It certainly appears well resourced. He finished 4th yesterday, which was a good result for him. He was making some changes to the settings of his bike, and he's firmly intending to get back on the podium today. Experienced rider and a really quick, successful rider, clever rider. So let's watch out for him today as he just moves inside one of his rivals on the track. Let's look at the lap times. They're lapping, the fastest bikes out there are lapping in the mid to late 153s. Piawat, yesterday's second place man and the fastest man in qualifying, Piawat, his best time during this warm-up session has been 153.554. Aiki Iyoshi. A lot of vowels in that for a Londoner, sorry about that. 153.676. And third, Adinanta Putra, 153.9. Those are the three who have got into the 153s, and the blue Yamaha there you saw was Aldi Satya Mahendra. Very promising young rider from Indonesia. You see the two Hondas of, that's Cao Vietnam, number 65, the only Vietnamese rider in this class. Very experienced rider, and a man very much looked up to by aspiring young racers from Vietnam. There's a lot more to come from Vietnam in motorcycle racing over the next few years, and it's great to see them represented here in two classes. Aldi Satya Mahendra riding it pretty loose into turn 3, which is at the top of the two longest straights at Chang International Circuit. And there is Sethu Rajiv, number 80 bike. Another big name that's looked up to in India. In India, they were able to organise racing during the off period, the 2-year off period, let's call it. I'm never sure what to call it, so please make a comment if you've got an idea of what we can call the last 2 years. He raced in the Indian Championship, took the 150 Championship there on a Honda. And 21 there is Adinanta Putra, who showed at the front all the way through yesterday. All the way through, that is, until a final corner crash. There you see Aldi Satya Mahendra sandwiched between two Hondas. And there are the two distinctive green Kawasaki's at the front of Andy Mohamed Fadli and Aiki Iyoshi. There go the two Kawasaki's for the last time round at speed, followed by Reza Danica Arens, Aldi Satya Mahendra, and I think that's Cal Vietnam just behind. And that brings us to the end of the session. We'll have a look at the times in just a moment. But a few adjustments made and tried out by these riders. There's Setu again, looking for good things today. Strong rider, looking to make progress in this class. His best time in this brief warm-up session was a 1:57. And the temperature here at just coming up to 10 AM here in Thailand is 33 degrees. Some of the riders probably slow down, and by the practice start mark, yeah, as you see at the top of this long straight, you can see them there just going over a little crest. When you're tucked down behind a bike at speed, and these bikes, these 250s, are doing around 200 kilometers an hour down there. When you're tucked down behind the fairing, that comes up on you very fast, unsights you as you get into this really fast left-hander. And there he is, yesterday's race winner, Reza Danica Arens for Astra Honda. Hergen going through there. And I think that was, we just had a glimpse of Fitriancia on the LFN machine. Here are the results of the warm-up. Number 1, yesterday's race winner, Reza Danica Arens. Number 2, Adenta Putra. 3rd, Piawat Patumios for Aldi Satya Mahendra, the young Indonesian. 5th, Aiki Iyoshi. 6th, Andy Mohamed Fadli, the defending champion. 7th, Herjanatna Firdaus. 8th, Anggi Setia-Wan. And 9th, Fitriancia Keti. 10th, Rafid Topan Sucipto. 11th, Idlan Hakim Radwan. 12th, Akid Aziz. 13th, Cal Vietnam. 14th, Ray Ratakuri. 15th, Setu Rajiv. And 16th, Senthil Chandra Sekaran, the second Indian rider here at round 1 of the IDEMITSU FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. We're going to take a brief break now, and we'll be back for the Supersport 600 Warm Up. That will be taking place in around 7 minutes from now. We'll see you then. Welcome back to Chang International Circuit in Buriram. And if you're just joining us, you are watching the beginning of the Supersport 600 warm-up session, 15-minute session this morning. Yesterday we had an absolute cracker of a race 1, and we are no doubt going to be having a cracker of a race 2 today. It's a really high quality field today. Everybody's been talking about it outside of Asia as well as inside, but we have some terrific riders here putting in some very, very close lap times. There was drama all the way through, especially at the, let's call it notorious, Chang International Circuit Turn 12, which changed the result, the expected result, considerably. In qualifying, pole position was taken yesterday morning by Andy Farid Izdihar, who looks like he's, on paper at least, he has had a perfect week. Actually, I was going to say weekend, but earlier in the week there was a 2-day official test. He clocked the fastest Supersport 600 time there, and he got pole position yesterday, and he took the race win. The race win was really hard fought. He did lead most of the race, but he was challenged hard by the Thai rider, Nakarin Atirapuvapat, Chip Nakarin, who looked like he could take the win at the last turn, but got badly out of shape as the two riders got really close to each other. Nothing sinister there. It was just a normal racing situation at the final turn. Chip got out of shape and crashed, recovered quickly to finish seventh and gather some points, but he ended up almost 28 seconds, 22 seconds behind the winner. On screen now, we're just looking at, that's the number 24, Mohammed Izam Iqmal, and there coming through is one of the Thai riders there, Kondanai Kiao on the number 100 machine, and he's being chased by, I think that's Helmi Asman, but we will check that later. Helmi Asman, let's just stay with these riders. So here we are looking at, okay, that's I think that's Krichapon there at the front, Krichapon Kausanti, Thai rider, and giving it a big handful and almost getting a little bit out of shape there was Izam Ekmel at the top of the longest straight here at Chang International Circuit. It is a fast circuit, as everybody knows. These 600 Supersport machines hitting speeds of around high speed in yesterday's race, almost 264 kilometers an hour. Just to give you some perspective, and that's Kurt Kiao at the front of that group on the EEST NJT Racing Honda CBR 600 RR. One of the big stories for this class, compared to 2019, has been the launch of the new Honda 600 Supersport bike. In 2019, the bike of choice for this class was very much with the Yamaha R6. As those three riders, those two are joined by Ferozi Torakatullah. Ferozi didn't manage a finish yesterday. I believe he crashed. And another Yamaha that ran into trouble, a very notable one we'll hopefully be seeing in a minute, was that of Yamaha Thailand's Ratapong Willarot, who's the 2018 champion. We're just looking there at Nakarin Atirapuvapat sliding his Honda into turn 3, the 180-degree hairpin, and blasting off down the straight towards turn 4. Turn 4, I think they take in 4th or 5th gear. It's the end of the real fast part of this circuit, and now you can see, as we follow Nakarin going through the tightening left-hander at turn 5, and then banking over to the right for turn 6, which will be followed by another 2 right-handers. So the right side of the tyre getting the work out there. He's being followed by Galang Hendra Pratama. Galang finished 6th yesterday. I'm just looking for Helmi Asman, so we can talk a little bit about him. But Galang Hendra has showed well all the way through the test. He was 5.7 seconds off the winner yesterday. Very promising young Indonesian rider. Yamaha Indonesia, of course, another one of the teams that keep spotting and developing talent. That's Chip Nakarin and Galang going into turn 1, and they're heading off, and we've got the benefit of onboard camera there from Galang. It looks shaky, but I think that's authentic, because it doesn't feel so smooth when you're on board these machines at these sorts of speeds, and that's a nice little drift there by Galang into turn 3. Andy Farid, let's take a look for him as we stay there with the much fancied young Indonesian, Galang Hendra, chasing Nakarin, and is that Kanatat? Might be Kanatat Jamin. I can't see the leathers, but that was a high-speed Honda. Oh, it's number 19, Yanasorn Yanapan, another Thai rider on a private from a private team, and there is Kanatat Jamin, we were just mentioning, who's also off the track. He showed a good turn of speed, but has had a few crashes during the last few days. He finished 8th yesterday, 28 seconds adrift of the winner. Now let's have a look. We've got on screen now Ibrahim Noureddin. Let's just dwell on him a little bit, because his performance yesterday, which ended up in 3rd place, was particularly impressive. He was adrift of the first group of 4 bikes for the first half of the race. He doggedly caught them up, and the bike he was following as they got onto the first straight after turn 1, right upon Willerot's machine, Yamaha, blew its engine. That slowed Ibrahim down again. He lost touch, and then he battled his way all the way back up again, and put himself in contention for the win. So you saw very much the personality of this young Malaysian, Ibrahim Noureddin, who I first remember seeing in KTM Cup at Sepang several years ago now, but very strong, determined young rider. And we watch him now, just following. I think that's right. He's being chased now. We've got and there is Ratapon Willerot, who will have at least a partly new engine in that R6, as he just drops behind. Looks like a Bunsu Honda. Is that Helmi Asman? Must be a little bit windy out there. I noticed the camera shaking a little bit. But let's just focus on Helmi a little bit. Helmi Asman was the 2018 Underbone champion for ARRC. He made a jump up to 600s. He leapfrogged the AP250 class and spent 2 seasons on the aging Honda. But now he has the new one. He's been performing well in the Malaysian Superbike series in the 600 class. He finished 3rd in 2021 in that championship, which is highly competitive, full of really good Malaysian riders, and he's been looking confident this weekend, and particularly confident in yesterday's race, and that was a confident drift up behind Noureddin as they got into turn 3. I think that's Ratapong just behind him. Hopefully he will be back up to speed, because he was with the leading group and threatening until that engine failure. And there's Kondanai Kurd Kiao for the EEST NJT Racing. He came in 10th yesterday on his debut. Good job from a debutant in this highly competitive series. And Andy Farid Izdihar has he's trying to complete the statistics for the weekend. He's fastest in warm-up currently with a 1:39.379, which is more than 0.7 quicker than Nakarin Atirapuvapat. Somebody we haven't mentioned yet is Khairul, who we just saw on the screen there. Oh, and that's not what you want to do in a warm-up session. Is that Ratapong? Let's just take a look. No, I think that's one of the Indonesian Yamahas. Just take a look who crashed there. Oh, that was Ratapong. So Ratapong not opening the day at the office particularly well, and after suffering an engine failure in yesterday's race, is out of this warm-up session. There are just 3 minutes left there. He has not got a time recorded yet, as we just look again at the Kiao once again. Kud Kiao, newcomer to this class, getting a lot of track time in, getting a lot of laps in, and he'll be looking to improve his results, improve his time. As we just look again at Ratapong, who must have lost the front under braking, as several riders have in all classes during the last few days. Ratapong was the 2018 ARRC Supersport champion and the lone representative for Yamaha Thailand racing team. We don't have, we have a time recorded, but that was on a messed up lap. So forget about that, that was 2.5 minutes. That wouldn't get him near the front in an Underbone race. Khairul Idampawi we haven't talked too much about, but he had a solid race yesterday. I think we will see some more from him. He finished 5th, just behind Irfan Ardiancia for Irfan on the Astra Honda, Khairul on the Bunsu Honda. And there is yesterday's race winner, yesterday's pole man, and the fastest man in this session, Andy Farid Izdihar. Is he going to be challenged this afternoon in race 2? He will be. The stats look perfect for him, but he really had to fight in yesterday's race to take the win. Chip Nakarin giving him a whole lot of trouble in yesterday's race. So let's just take a look at Andy Farid Izdihar. Very experienced rider, of course. He has come from Supersports. He was last in the, just looking now, 2018 he was 5th in the championship, and 2019 went to the CEV Moto2 European Championship, which again is a super competitive place to race, and always raises your game. And another rider that's come through the Astra Honda talent management system. And now Chip Nakarin is into the 139s, and Andy Farid Izdihar 139.081 in the warm-up session. The track's a little cooler now, so you may not, don't expect those lap times during the race, but what you can expect will be a really close-fought race. Andy Farid coming into turn 12. Let's just look at his line there, because this is so crucial at the end of the race, and it was, where he got very close and personal with Chip Nakarin and came out the winner of that particular tussle. And the checkered flag is out for this warm-up session. Irfan Ardiancia, who also featured well yesterday. He was fourth yesterday, and we now have 4 riders in the 139s with Nakarin and Galanghendra Pratama, the young Indonesian rider, both on exactly the same time, 139.860 in 3rd and 4th place. The 3rd and 4th ranking will no doubt be based on the 2nd fastest lap that each rider has scored. Ratapong, now the timing screens have adjusted. He put in a 140.4 as he was checking out his new, or at least semi-new engine. Krichaporn has finished. He was on a 140.4. And Ferozi Torakatula, who didn't make the finish line yesterday, 140.6. Isam Iqbal, who's shown flashes of promise as well, 141.273. And again, there's the hard-working Kondonai Kurt Kiao on the EEST NJT Racing Honda. Let's check the results now for the warm-up. Andy Faridis-Dihar makes it a perfect set so far with the fastest time. Stunning, actually, 139.004 fastest time, and consistency during that session. 2nd, Paui. 3rd, Nakarina Tirapuvapat. 4th, Galanghendra Pratama. 5th, Ibrahim Noruddin. 6th, Irfan Ardiancia. 7th, Krichaporn Kausonti. And 8th, Ratapong Willarot, who was only on track briefly before that tumble at turn 12. 9th, Ferozi Torakatula. 10th, Isam Iqbal. 11th, Kondonai Kurt Kiao, the hard-working Kondonai. 12th, Kanatat Jamin, who had, he didn't record a time. Neither did Yanasorn or Helmi Asman. That concludes the warm-up for the Supersport 600s. The time for the race this afternoon will be, you must not miss this, the time for the race this afternoon is scheduled 14:45, 2:45 p.m. Thai time and Indonesia Central Time. We're going to be back in just about 7 or 8 minutes with the ASB1000 Warm Up, and again, plenty to talk about there. We'll see you then. Welcome back to day 3, round 1 of the IDEMITSU FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. And if you're just joining us, you're at Chang International Circuit in the heart of Thailand, in Buriram. Of course, this circuit became famous for hosting MotoGPs in 2018 and 2019, and will be hosting once again in 2022. But our focus now is on the Asia Road Racing Championship. On your screen now are the ASB1000, the Superbike 1000 bikes coming out onto the circuit. We had a day of drama in this class yesterday afternoon, and some fantastic racing. So several plots and subplots. But just to start at the top was the bike, the Asia Dream Honda of Zakwan Zaidi. Zakwan has been consistent all the way through the pre-season test, which was on Tuesday and Wednesday last week, and also in free practice and in qualifying yesterday when he took pole position. He looks like he has perfect stats. We were talking about that with Andy Faridis Diha in the 600s, but Zakwan's stats look pretty good too. He won yesterday by a whisker or a wafer, just ahead of Anupab Samoon and Haruki Noguchi, both of whom we can talk about in the next few minutes. But you're looking now at one of the subplots, or the main character in one of the subplots. That's Ting Note, his nickname, Tidipong Warakuan, on the number 100. And that, as you can see, is a Ducati Panigale V4, the Access Plus Ducati Panigale V4. He signed for the team just a few days ago. I believe it was on Sunday night. He announced it on Monday night on his Instagram account, to the surprise even of some of his team members. And then he swung a leg over that machine just a few hours later on Tuesday morning. Got faster and faster, and long story short, in qualifying he recorded the second fastest time to earn himself a place in the middle of the front row of the grid. And that's where the first twist in the tail comes, because he didn't make that place. The Ducati team, for several reasons, delayed their two bikes, the bikes of Ting Note and the bike of TJ Alberto, until just a little bit too late to leave pit lane, so they had to join the grid from the back. Ting Note we expected to carve his way through the field. We were looking forward to an epic recovery from the back and a charge through to the front and a podium position, which was my confident prediction. But after making good progress in the closing laps, Tidipong fell back, and later, of course, the story unfolds. What happened was the bike was low on fuel, and this seems to be an issue that Ducati have to resolve. It's not a question of tank capacity, there's plenty of that. It's just filling up the bike is difficult because of the baffles and the shape of the tank, and they just didn't have enough fuel going through the system to enable him to finish the race competitively. He did finish and pick up some points. He fought through to 9th position, so a lot of work will have been done on making sure that Ducati tank is topped up to the brim this time around. As we look there at race winner, pole man, fastest man in practice, and the most consistent rider in the last week here at Chang International Circuit, with an onboard camera giving you a good impression of what the rider's experiencing. But Zakwan had to fight for that win. It was a very canny race by the Malaysian. After starting from pole, he dropped back to around 4th position, kept himself in touch with the pack, and then as the tyres began to go off, he made his way through back to the front, and he had to fight for that against, here comes another one of the subplots, a newcomer to the series, a 21-year-old Japanese rider, Haruki Noguchi, for the STG Motorsports team. He joined, making his debut not only in the Asia Road Racing Championship, but also on a Superbike, and has been putting in a lot of work during the pre-season test, a lot of laps in the free practice on Friday, and qualified sensationally, qualified third on the grid for the races. And he led a good deal of the race, in fact the majority of the race, before Zakwan in the later stages came through to take him. We thought that would be all over, but Haruki fought back, and it was a battle all the way through to the final corner. At that final corner, perhaps the experience of Zakwan told, and he muscled Haruki to an unfavourable track position, and Haruki almost lost it, but held on as he was regaining control of his machine. Anupab Samoon just slipped through. We'll talk about the Yamahas in a moment too, but Anupab Samoon for Yamaha Thailand slipped through into second by 0.07 of a second. That's how close it was, and Anupab was just half a second behind race winner Zakwan Zaidi. We're looking there now at Gary Salim, another debutant to this class. Gary Salim we've seen in 250s. He was a 250 AP250 champion. We've also seen him in 600s, and he's another rider with international experience. This is his debut on the Superbike, and like the other debutants, has been taking advantage of track time to put in as many laps as possible to get himself comfortable with the bike. We didn't see the best of him, in my opinion, in yesterday's race. He came in 8th position, 15.4 seconds behind Zakwan, but nevertheless that was a decent performance by him and good experience. And now in the centre of your screen is that young Japanese rider, Haruki Noguchi. Haruki came in as the reigning All Japan Supersport champion. He has raced here before in the Asia Talent Cup, but of course riding a Superbike around here is a very different game to getting a fast Moto3 machine through. Top speeds are very different. It's about 100 kilometers an hour. 100 kilometers an hour. Sorry. Difference between the top speeds for a start and the immense difference in power and torque. There is the second place man from yesterday, Anupab Samoon, just going through. He played a waiting game behind Zakwan and Haruki Noguchi for the majority of the race. We noted him keeping position in case anything went wrong, and like the experienced professional he is, he pounced as soon as he got the opportunity and slipped through with 0.08 of a second, less than a wafer's breadth ahead of Haruki Noguchi. But Haruki should have been delighted with P3. He was pleased, but I think he felt that he could have won the race, and that speaks well for his character. It also bodes well for race 2 today and for the rest of the season, as we see exactly what that Japanese rider has got in store for us. Looking at the fast laps now, Zakwan maintaining his 1:11:11 achievements so far. He's fastest with a lap of 1:36.112. Fastest lap yesterday was 1:36.6 something. So faster times in these cooler temperatures. Cooler temperatures being relative. It's about 34 degrees here now in Buriram, Thailand. Yesterday afternoon the temperatures hit 36 degrees, but more importantly, with the sun on the track for so long, the track temperatures were a blistering 60 degree plus. Nobody could actually tell me how hot it was because it was off the scale. Even the Dunlop tyre engineers, when I asked them, so what was the track temperature today? It was over 60 degrees. That was the best answer I could get for everyone. And having touched the tarmac with the palm of my hand myself, I can definitely verify that as we watch Anupab tear down to turn 4. Look at the length of the runoff area there. Oh, okay, well, that wasn't rehearsed, but Anupab found himself in that runoff area. It's a very deep runoff area because these superbikes are approaching it at speeds of close to 300. Fastest speed yesterday was 299.3 kilometers an hour on that straight. They then break into 4th gear for turn 4, but it's a very, very fast turn, and you have to approach it over a blind crest. So it's really a big boys corner, and the runoff area is very, very deep because if anybody crashes there, and we have seen a few, you need a long runoff area. And we're looking here. I'm sorry, we're looking here at Adam Noureddin. Adam Noureddin for the 1XOX TKKR. He's on a BMW. He hasn't had things all his own way, but he blew an engine. When was it? On Friday, I think. So he started from 9th position on the grid with a best time of 1:36.2, and he came through to finish 7th yesterday. So a fairly quiet start for a very talented rider. And speaking of which, there's Kazma Daniel. There's Mayudin just crossing the line. Kazma Daniel so far has done a 1:37.5. We're at the halfway point in this 15-minute warm-up session. Zakwan sits at the top. As we watch now, number 24 bike, that's Apiwat Wongtananon. So let's turn attention to these Yamaha Thailand R1s. You can see yesterday they had trouble just matching the pace of and matching the speed in a straight line of the Hondas of Haruki Noguchi and Zakwan Zaidi. The reason was overheating. Of course, when a bike gets too hot, it loses power, and that made it difficult for them, which speaks much about the Herculean effort that Anupab made to stay in contact and eventually snatch that opportunity to take P2. The man on screen there, Apiwat Wongtananon, number 24, he was just two seconds or so back from his teammate. He finished 4th. As we watch those two going around together, my friend and co-commentator Des Corkill often comments about how these two Yamahas circulate together as though they're attached by a rope, and there they are, not disappointing there if you're watching Des. Des will be with us for the live telecast this afternoon for race 2 in all 4 classes, as Apiwat and Anupab blast down up to close to 300 kilometers an hour before braking for turn 4 and then getting into the tight and tightening turn 5. And then they pick it up and then they bank it over onto the right side of the tyre for another 3 turns. So they're in the more technical infield section at the moment. And Zakwan still fastest. Apiwat 1:36.6, so that's a decent time from him, about the same as his best race time yesterday. Anupab 4th fastest, so those two Yamaha twins have got Haruki Noguchi in the sandwich. Haruki's best time so far, 136.666. What does that portend for this afternoon's race? Another rider we should talk about, and hopefully we'll see him on screen soon, is Pasawit Titiwararak, the young Thai coming into the 600 class in the ARRC. He does have 600 experience, and it's as if by magic, there he is. He's, as a newcomer to this class, he's really put in some good work over the last week. And I spoke to him before the race yesterday, an hour or so before the race, and I commented on how well he was progressing and got a prediction from him, and he said top 5, and sure enough he finished in 5th place, just 2.5 seconds behind Zakwan. So that was a really good first outing in this class in the Asian Road Racing Championship. I'm sorry, his previous experience was on 600s, now of course he's on 1000s. So along with Geri Salim, Haruki Noguchi and Adam Noradin, they are relative newcomers to the 1000 Superbike class. Pasawit, the beneficiary of the Honda Thailand racing team talent system. They're constantly bringing new riders through. He's been there for several years now, and now at the top level in ARRC, in the Superbike category, the sole representative for Superbikes. And Zakwan still top, 136.1. So that's about half a second quicker than his best race time yesterday. Best race time yesterday was set on lap 4, relatively early in the race. And this class and the Supersport 600 class, another one just takes a little tour of the runoff area. I think that's Anupab, and I do believe that his teammate Apiwat has followed him. And we go on board now. And there is Zakwan Zaidi, maintaining what looks like a perfect record, but as he will tell you himself, it's not easy to maintain a perfect record at this level, and especially in this heat. So 136.110 for him in warm-up. Track temperature now will be cooler. It hasn't had so much sun on it. Getting a little bit skittish on the way into turn 12. We have seen him riding, the setup does look quite loose on this bike. Sometimes you see him squirming away out of turn 12. Now he's coming into turn 1 to begin another lap. And there's a fast sprint up to turn 3. And you can just see disappearing from the right of your screen the kink that is officially known, and he's going around it now as turn 2. And here he comes. Let's watch his style going into turn 3, drifting nicely under braking and carving his way out and back down a long fast journey to turn 4. Haruki Noguchi still on that 136.666. There's some poetry and some threat in that time. Titipong, he's got a 136.7 so far. I think we're on board with Zakwan there. Good to try some onboard cameras. We also have drones that we'll be looking from this afternoon. So, and again, talking about Zakwan riding it loose, that will have cost him a little bit. And just going out of shot on the right of your screen, there was Haruki Noguchi. Zakwan completes another lap. There's just 10 seconds remaining, 9 seconds or 8 seconds as he crosses the line. before the checkered flag comes out to end this warm-up session for ASB 1000. We'll look at the results shortly, but just a reminder, we'll be on live telecast this afternoon from 1 o'clock. The first race will be Underbone's, not to be missed. Favourite all the way around the world there. He is, take note, Titipom, taking a leisurely line around turn 12 this time. Looking forward to seeing him take his front row grid position later on. As he's followed round by Kazma Daniel of the Yamaha Racing ASEAN. Two riders we haven't seen in this session are Yuki Ito. I'm not quite sure what the problem is with that machine. TJ Alberto also not out this session owing to an injury. I'll talk about that in a second. So, just to confirm the official results. Zakwan Zaidi for Honda Asia Dream Racing, fastest. Second, Apiwat Wantananon for Yamaha Thailand, followed by his teammate Anupab Sarmoon. Fourth place, Haruki Noguchi, who finished third yesterday. Fifth, Titipon Warakorn, whose team has a few things to sort out before today's race. And sixth, Gary Salim. Seventh, Pasawit Titivarak. Eighth, Adam Noradin on the BMW S1000 RR. Ninth, we didn't see too much of him in this session, Aslan Shah Kamaruzaman. He put in a 137.4. 10th, Kazma Daniel, Kazmayuddin, and Yuki Ito. And TJ Alberto not starting. TJ Alberto had a crash at turn 3 during the race, early in the race yesterday, and I believe has a shoulder injury which will keep him out of action today, unfortunately. So, commiserations to TJ, but we hope to see him back in action very soon. That's the end of the warm-up session. We'll be back this afternoon at 1 o'clock Thai time on live telecast. Join me, join Des Corkhill then, and we look forward to another scintillating afternoon of racing at the 2022 IDEMITSU Asia Road Racing Championship, round 1. We'll see you then.
ค้งไหนที่ได้
ปั้นยิงตัวนี้ตัวเดียวแล้วมันมีช้อนหนัง
ตลกขายดิตลกขายนะตลกขายขนาดข้อตรงเลย
อยู่ในสตาร์ทที่8ครับอยู่สตาร์ทที่9มีเติม
เพราะว่ารุ่นนี้มีปรับเกรดตั้งแต่ระหว่างขับรถ
สตาร์ทที่2จะมา
ตรงนี้ด้วยครับขออนุญาตครับ1 2 3ครับ
ครับไป
ตรงนี้ด้วยครับตูดโอ้โหคิดว่าทำได้
ได้ที่โค้ง12เนี่ยที่เลยนะเข้าโค้ง